What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is BJ, and on this channel, we talk about what it means to finally live life in your 30s, because as long as you're alive, it is never too late. So if that's something you're interested in, maybe you're turning 30 and you're a little bit scared, maybe you're in your 30s and you don't know what that's supposed to look like, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you never miss an upload and we can go on this journey together. So let's talk about what it means to start over. Got my little glass of Moscato here. Mrs. Always Right. I got this for my wedding anniversary for my mother-in-law. So cute. Anyway, let's talk about starting over. So the last video that I uploaded on my channel, I was talking about 75 Hard for authors and how that was something that I was going to embark in and that I felt like it was the right time for me to take part in something like that. Not long after I made that video, life started lifing, and 75 Hard suddenly became something that I didn't really necessarily feel like I could partake in. And it felt like it was more of a burden on my life than it felt like something that was propelling me forward in any positive way. Now, I understand that the whole point of 75 Hard is supposed to be mental toughness and you're supposed to be testing yourself. But baby, I don't need to test my mental toughness any more than I already have. Okay, life has done that enough, and I know that I'm a strong chick. So I don't necessarily think that I need it for that purpose. And so I opted out and have just been living life. Now, with that said, I did mention wanting to take 6 months to change my life, and I mentioned Jenna Streety. Since then, I have joined her 185 Insane challenge, and now you might be saying, Britt, you literally just said you didn't feel like 75 Hard was good for you. Why are you going to join a challenge that takes 185 days? Let me explain my thought process. Okay. The reason that 75 Hard didn't work for me, or at least the reason that I felt 75 Hard was not working for me, was entirely because of the time frame. Now, some of the things that I was doing for 75 Hard weren't that difficult, but the idea of only having 75 days was really stressful for me, because if something happened and I missed 3 or 4 days, you miss a large chunk of the 75 days you're supposed to be doing this challenge for. Now, with 75 Hard, when you miss a day, you are supposed to start all of the way over, right? And I wasn't going to do it that way. And knowing that I wasn't going to do it that way felt disingenuous, and it just felt like I wasn't embracing the challenge in the way that it was supposed to be embraced. And I felt like if I was going to be doing that much editing, or if I was going to change the challenge as much as I was intending to change the challenge, I wasn't really doing it. And so it didn't really make sense for me to continue going forward, because at this point I had missed like 2 straight weeks of the challenge, right? So at that point, it was like I might as well start over. And if I'm going to start over, I might as well start something new that I felt was more feasible. Now, 185 days is a lot longer than 75. I am completely aware of that. The difference to me is that if I miss a day or two, I don't feel the same pressure, because I still have another 6 months and some change to work on the challenge. So 185 Insane to me, while it is going to be more strenuous in terms of what it requires from me, the longer time frame for me just works a little bit better for my neurodivergent brain. So let's talk about what 185 Insane is, and I will try to put my little Notion tracker up on the screen here so that you guys can follow along with me. But essentially, 185 Insane is a challenge that was created by Jenna Streety, who is another YouTuber. I will link her in the description box and put her photo here somewhere. I think I did it in the last video. And essentially, it is 185 days to change all areas and aspects of your life, especially if you are a creative. So let's talk about what this challenge entails. Now, she does have some differences between, like, if you are an indie author or if you are a published author. Like, there are like slight variations. I have never published anything, so I don't intend to query anything that I write during this time. I intend to self-publish absolutely everything. So I am going down the indie author route for my challenge. So this is what it entails. And if you see me looking this way, it's because I have it written down in my notes. So excuse me. But number one is write 1,000 words a day more than what your normal total is. So since I am just now starting to write again, that means that I would be focusing on writing 1,000 words. Easy enough. That's about an hour of writing per day. I can do that. The next thing is to self-publish. I think it was 2 full books or 3 novellas within the next 6 months. I am still a beginner author. Like, this will be my very first project. So I figured that novellas would be easier because I do have some ideas for some like cozy romances and some cozy mysteries that maybe aren't long enough for a novel, but a novella would work. So for me, I am going to be self-publishing 3 novellas in this 6 months. The next one is to attend one author event and sign your own books. This one I'm a little bit nervous about. I live in the Midwest and I'm not too sure what author events and things look like in Michigan. So I will have to look that up and see when they're happening, when they're coming, and make sure that I actually have a book that is ready to go during that time. But I think that would be kind of cool to do an author event and like have my name on the sign and do all that good stuff. I think that would be really cool. So that's another one, is to attend at least one author event. The next is to post 3 pieces of content per day on any platform. For me, that's likely going to be Instagram. That's a platform that I've always wanted to really grow on, and it's one that I use regularly. So I might do like 2 on Instagram and 1 on Threads. I'm still kind of like getting used to Threads and how to use it. I do not know how to use TikTok. Blame that on my 30s brain. I cannot seem to figure it out. So Instagram and Threads will probably be where I split my 3 posts per day. And the idea is that it's supposed to be writing related. For me, I'm also working on a podcast and a zine. So for me, it'll be more creative related, not necessarily just writing. So it'll be 3 posts about whatever it is that I am working on creatively at the moment. The next one is to write at least 500,000 words in the next 6 months. I didn't do the math. I don't know how many words a day that is over 185 days, but I think the other option was either write 500,000 words per day or draft 3 full novels or something like that. I'm going to go with the 500, or not 500,000 words per day, 500,000 words in 6 months. So I'm going to go with that one. That just seems a lot more feasible for me than drafting 3 full novels. But who knows, that could change at some point as I'm working on this. So, as any challenge, things are subject to change. Make new friends. That's another part, either online or in person. There is a Discord server for this 185-day challenge, and they're very active. Everyone is very nice. I need to participate more. I kind of lurk and I don't say very much, but my goal is to actually start participating in some of the conversations and actually make friends, because you just never know. And that's exciting, right? To meet new people. Is that exciting to anyone but me? The next one is to drink at least 5 bottles of water per day. Now, I mentioned that 185 insane is to elevate every area of your life. I just turned 32 today. So for me, it's understanding that I am getting older and that the better I take care of my body, the longer I'm going to live and the better quality of life that I'm going to have. So taking part in this challenge is really important for that reason. And this goal is to have 5 bottles of water per day. I have a very big ass jug, a purple jug that I use for my water, and I think it's closer to a gallon of water per day. I'm going to go back to using that rather than doing bottles of water. That's just a little bit easier for me. And it's the kind that has like the times on it. So I can know like by 10 o'clock, I need to drink this much XYZ. So that is another one. So health. Drinking water. No social media before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. I think this one is self-explanatory. The world is in flames at the moment, and waking up to that kind of information, but also letting that be the last thing you see before bed is detrimental to your mental health in so many ways. And so I think it'll be better for me to follow this rule because I can be doing something way more productive with my time. And I think putting a time frame on it, giving myself 12 hours of just nothing as far as intaking all of this information goes, is going to be really good for me because I will doom scroll for hours and the next thing you know it's 1 a.m. and I really should be going to bed. So no social media before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. Stick to a sleeping schedule. This is also going to be very important. Right now I go to bed between midnight and 1 a.m. and then I get up for work at 7:30. So not the greatest by any means. So sticking to a sleeping schedule for me is going to be going to bed at a much more reasonable time, getting up at a reasonable time, and then sticking to that schedule. So not just like, oh, as long as it's 5 hours, like I need to make sure I'm getting my full 8. Actually, I've read somewhere that women are supposed to get 10 hours of sleep, which is crazy to me, but I love sleeping, so I'm down. It's crazy that I would say that I only get like 5 hours of sleep and then say I love sleeping. I do. But I just always feel like there's something else that I should be doing, or I'm doom scrolling. So I don't sleep nearly as often as I probably should, or as much as I want to. So sticking to a sleep schedule is going to be very, very, very important. The next one, 5K steps per day. This is going to come over from 75 hard. It's just making sure that I get at least 45 minutes of movement per day. But 5,000 steps per day is a goal to go towards, and that'll probably be treadmill walking because it has been hot lately. And I'm not walking my dog 5,000 steps in this heat. Thank you very much. So it'll mostly probably be treadmill walking where there is air and a fan, and I can sweat, but it won't be nearly as bad as walking in nasty tornado weather outside, which is what we have today. So 5,000 steps per day. I also think it'll be really cool to like find some cool podcasts to listen to, especially some like creative writing podcasts, and just kind of get my brain moving a little bit, versus just like listening to music, which is what I normally do. So I'm going to try that. And if you have any suggestions down below, let me know. The next is going to be stick to a diet and exercise. This is another thing that's coming over from 75 hard. My diet, I am going to try to be mostly vegetarian, not all vegetarian. That's just not feasible for me at the moment because I'm still transitioning, but I am going to try to eat mostly vegetarian and then exercise 45 minutes per day and have 1 day of active rest. So like yoga, just walking, something like that. Read 30 minutes per day. I talked about this in my 75 hard video, but I feel like this is also really important just to get those creative juices flowing and just to see what else is out there and how other people are writing their stories and what kind of other stories exist, not for competition's sake, but just to fill your creative well. I think that's really important. I notice when I go long periods of time without reading, when I sit down to write, it's much more difficult. So doing 30 minutes of reading per day as a mandatory thing is really important. I also just got some ARC books. I am an ARC reader, so I just got a couple of books sent to me that I need to read and review before they drop. So this 30 minutes at least per day will help me get through those books as well. And the last thing is to pick up one new hobby. I already have a million hobbies, so I don't necessarily know what this one will be, but I have been interested in learning how to do like embroidery. So I might pick that up. I'm just now learning how to knit. I've been crocheting. I have a Cricut machine. I've been learning to sew. I've been doing oil painting and coloring. And so I've been doing a lot of different hobbies. I haven't done them lately just because, like I said, life has been lifing and it's felt like I've had other things to do besides that, which isn't really fair. Like I really should take the time to indulge in things other than just work. So I will be picking up a new hobby and I'm not sure what that hobby will be, but if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. I'm open to literally anything. I love crafting more than life. So anything you have, leave it in the comments below. I would love to hear it. So what are the next 185 days going to look like outside of this challenge? For me, honestly, like I said, I'm 32 and I'm not going to get any younger at any point. And I feel like I have spent a lot of time in survival mode and just kind of existing, and I want to really thrive and I want to really be able to live. So I feel like taking on this challenge and taking it on for real this time, Not like the way 75 hard went, but taking this challenge on, being part of a community of people that are taking on this challenge, being part of a community of people that want to change their life is really going to be motivating for me. And it's going to make it a lot easier for me to continue to indulge and to continue to follow this path. If you are someone who also feels like you want to change your life in the next 6 months, highly recommend joining the challenge. I'll put the link to the Discord down in the comment section for you if you want to join. There's also a 24-hour novel writing challenge that's coming up this weekend that I will be partaking in. If you want to join that, I will also have the link to that down in the comment section, or you can join the 185 Insane and ask for it, and they can give you the link to it. It's coming up on the 21st, I believe. So Friday through Sunday, I think. Saturday through Monday. The 21st to the 23rd. It starts on Saturday, is my understanding. So yeah, I will be doing 185 Insane. I'm super excited. I'll be doing some weekly vlogs. I was going to try and do daily vlogs. When I jumped into 75 hard, I literally was putting myself like out of the frying pan and into the fire before I was really ready for it. So I will be doing weekly vlogs to keep you guys caught up on how things are going so far. If you're interested in seeing how things are going between videos, make sure you follow me on Instagram. I will leave it around here somewhere. And I hope you guys will join us. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.